What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully each and every one of you guys is having a great and amazing day. If it's your first time stopping by, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Follow me on both of my social media networks, both Instagram and Snapchat. And go ahead and check out my clothing line on Teespring. First link in the description below. Go ahead and use code STEALTHY15 for 15% off of your entire purchase. That code is good until the end of 2019. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're doing while the engine is off is putting the alternator back on. You got one bolt up here, one bolt here, one bolt here. Pretty simple. Then of course the belt goes on. If you guys don't know how to run the belt, pretty much the ribbed part of the belt goes on the ribbed part. So as you would imagine, it'd wrap around here, come up through here, and finish up on the tensioner. Alright, so now we got the AC compressor back on, alternator, breather plate that's connected to the catch can. Obviously this just goes behind the manifold and connects behind it like so. Next up, we're probably going to mount the manifold, or actually probably going to call it for the night because I don't have the gasket for the not the oil pump, but I guess this is called the oil filter housing. I need a gasket for that. If I mount the manifold, it's in the way of the thermostat, so I don't want to do that. Got a new gasket coming for the turbo, of course, and let's take a look at what the machine shop did. So right here, as you see, there is a time certain here now. So essentially what they did is they drilled this out to a bigger portion, and this is essentially like a bolt that has threads in the inside as well. So you see in there's oil that comes through and feeds to the turbo. So since this was stripped out, oil was just going everywhere, and it's just a pain in the ass. So we had to remove the engine to get this drilled out by a machinist, then have the time cert inserted. Now I do have to purchase a new oil feed line. Once again, this is gonna be like the third one going into the car, so we could go from here to the turbo, and we'll have everything pretty much ready to go tomorrow night, because I would have everything ready to go tonight, but I don't have any of the gaskets or flywheel bolts. When you replace the flywheel or clutch, you always want to use new flywheel bolts, because they are one-time use bolts. So besides that, everything is going to get as far as I'm going to get for the night. I got the AC compressor installed, got the breather plate installed that attaches to the catch can. I can't install the oil filter housing yet because I don't have the gasket. Thermostat goes here, which connects to this, so I didn't disconnect them, so I'm not going to install the thermostat and just leave the oil filter housing hang. Need new flywheel bolts, so I can't install the clutch or transmission. I need a gasket for the turbo, so I can't install the turbo. And here is that time cert. As you see, fresh threads inside. I'm waiting for a new hose to go to the turbo. The other one was a little stripped. He didn't want to risk using it again for a few dollars. One thing that I do have to replace is, I thought I did, maybe it's the other catch can. One of the catch cans, the O-ring ripped on. It appears that it's not this one, so I'm not going to worry about it at this time. And we got a turbo back on. Oil feed line no longer cross-threaded. Alright guys, so thermostat goes right here. We're going to be putting that back on right now, along with the oil filter housing right here. Of course, we needed a gasket for that, so we couldn't install it last night. Alright, so we got the thermostat on. As you see, there's a couple of connections that go over to the coolant tank. This connection runs over to the oil filter housing. Obviously this is mounted and this runs back to the back of the car. Hard doing this one-handed, but we got the flywheel back in place. We're not using this to actually torque it down. Just kind of get the bolts started. Like so. Now we gotta torque it down. Let me get the torque specs for you guys. All right, guys, so for the torquing of the flywheel, first off, you're gonna wanna go around and go 37 pounds all the way around in a star pattern, of course. Then you're gonna want to do 59, then 83, all of them being in a star pattern. All right, you guys, the flywheel is torqued down. If you can't figure out a way to hold the flywheel in place while you're torquing it down, because obviously you're not going to want to do it with an impact, put a transmission bolt in right here, place a pretty good size screwdriver through one of the holes and wedge it up against the bolt. I figured this screwdriver would be plenty strong, but apparently not. All right, guys, I am in the process of putting my clutch back in. As you see, I have the extreme clutch. Pads look okay, not in the greatest shape, but they will work. So besides that, let's get this front plate on. Pressure plates are on, both discs are in. Let's go. All the bolts in the clutch. Now we want to go through and tighten them all to 13 pounds as stated right there. All right, guys, so everything is torqued down. Now we just need to put the transmission on. All right, so we got the transmission mounted up. I haven't torqued it yet. Everything gets torqued to 35 foot-pounds. Trying to decide where these long bolts go, and after that I'm probably going to call it a night. I might mount the PTU up. Got everything mounted except for the PTU. The electrical connected besides a couple of connections that we need the intake in place for, and intake for both of them actually, because this goes to the PCV, the other one obviously goes to the intake. I need to install the catch cans, and right now I'm going to get under the car and connect the exhaust to the downpipe, connect the downpipe bracket, and probably connect the drive shaft, and pretty much everything under there is going to be done towards the rear of the car. Probably get the braces on, or maybe not right away. Then we have the axles, the charge pipes, and radiator, AC condenser, battery fluids. But before we do that, I'm going to get the driveline, the exhaust, downpipe bracket, and go ahead and start filling this up with oil. I got Motorcraft oil for now. I don't have any AMS oil. That's coming in on Monday. So I'm just going to put the old filter on. Hopefully I still have it and I haven't tossed it away. But if I haven't, I'm going to put it on and run it through there to make sure that there's no oil leaks. But before doing so, obviously, I do need to have my intake connected. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have the charge pipes on as well. But let's get to work. All right, you guys, so a little bit of an update. The exhaust bracket going from the downpipe to the transmission is on. Drive shaft is connected. I'm going to need some help to get the exhaust on so somebody can hold it in place while I tighten down the clamp. Next up, we are doing the front crash bar. Got the oil filter already on. After the front crash bar, I'm probably going to fill this up with the oil. Start putting the radiator, AC compressor, get all the hoses connected, and we'll go from there, see what's up. All right, you guys, so we got some oil in there now, so that's a good sign. I'm probably gonna attach this next. Or I might not worry about that right now. I do need to wait and get that exhaust on. While I'm waiting, I'm gonna start getting this intercooler in place, and probably the intake, the fans, start getting everything connected, get the intercooler on, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, a little bit of an update.
We dropped the bowl.
Radiator's on, AC compressor's on, intercooler's on. None of the charge pipes are on yet. I still have to put the intake on. I'm working on putting the catch can on right now. Besides that, we are rolling along. We still have the axles. But before we do that, we're going to do a startup and see if we have any leaks. Alright guys, update time. We got everything connected. Obviously the front isn't exactly complete. We don't have the braces on the bottom, but we want to make sure that there's no leaks before we get started. So with that being said, we're about to get the first startup. Alright, you ready?
What, strobe light?
First startup? No.
No strobe light.
Hold on. Hold on. Alright, go watch it. Take two.
Take two.
All right, guys, I feel successful. The car is running, and there's no apparent water leaks, no apparent leaks at all. It's squeaking a little on startup, but I'm not too sure what that is at this point. I'll further inspect it probably tomorrow. This is about as far as we're going to get today. We might just slap the wheels back on it and lower it and call it. With that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Drop a comment in the comment section below. I'm going to leave the car run for a few more minutes and see if there's any more oil leaks. Crossing my fingers, crossing my toes that they're not. Anyhow, I'm checking out.
Yeah, boy.